Thanksgiving is just days away. Along with preparing the food, some might be preparing for lively family discussions. And whether it's politics or other controversial topics, how do you save your dinner from disaster?
Here with some helpful advice is relationship communication expert Stephanie Michele. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm so happy to talk about this. Well, I think we all need a little help.
Oh,
this season. Yeah.
And you think this year is going to be particularly tough with getting the...
I do. I think the culprit that's new, that's kind of increasingly we've become more aware of it, is just how we're talking online and how that's spilling over offline. And so as communicators, we keep giving the message until it's received and understood. We don't get that online. So then when we go offline, we're still trying to get people to understand, and there's this fierce of intenseness in it, and that certainly doesn't have a place at Thanksgiving.
Wow. Well, so if somebody's hosting Thanksgiving, or one of the sort of elders there can talk some sense into everyone, is there something they should do before Thanksgiving to try to lay some groundwork?
Absolutely. So I'm a big advocate of preventative communication. So just setting setting an intention for a meaningful gathering. So this might require a phone call, not texting, but a phone call to say, hey, I want to see our family do better this year. I want us to have meaningful conversations. I want to learn something new about grandma. What does that look like? Do we have to take some topics off the table altogether? I like to think of it as like a special sequence, like making sure that there's opportunities for safe communication. So things like compliments, like wearing something that has a memory, or bringing your a special dish that there's a story behind it. So those are safe things. Gratefulness. It's the season of gratefulness. Gaming that out a little bit, going around the room and going and counting it out. 1, I'm grateful for this food. 2, my health.
That's a good one.
And timing it.
I like
getting
that
competitive with it.
Okay, what if things turns out because Uncle Larry has too much to drink and he gets a little upset at Susie?
So again,
Uncle Larry.
We all have an Uncle Larry. Again, this person's probably upset because they haven't felt understood yet. Their message hasn't been received. So we can simply say things like, Uncle Larry, I heard you. That's good perspective. I can understand how you feel that way. Maybe a safe touch, touch the arm, eye contact. But let them know that the message was received. Empathy is not endorsement. So we can say, I understand, without agreeing. And I think that we have to remember that to stay out of these heated conversations.
Well, it's a big family gathering. Is there anything we should do with kids? Because, kids want to always be on their phones and at the table. Is there anything that we should try to encourage or talk to our children or the younger adults who are going to be at the table?
Absolutely. So number 1, I would like to see no phones at the table whatsoever.
I love that.
Collect them in a basket, make it a game, hide them, find a turkey puppet and, put them somewhere special. Just get them out of the picture. That's the first thing. Second thing, board games. Let's play board games. Let's bring that back. That will create an element of safe communication, too, when we're just at play and competitive and fun with each other.
Yeah. And what about manners? I think it's important for parents, but sometimes kids don't learn those.
Yeah, well, again, preventative communication is good here. To maybe set them down and say, hey, we're going to dinner, and how grandma gets upset about these things, and it's a sign of respect to show her that you understand why she gets upset, and watch these things. There's a reason we have a kids table at Thanksgiving and dinner.
And that eye contact is so important.
Yes.
Look at people when you're talking to them or listening. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. And preventative communication.
Isn't
that really good? If you want to learn more about Stephanie and her positive communication strategies, you can check out her website at stephaniemichele.com. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
So the hours, as you know, are ticking until Thanksgiving. And while some people are looking forward to sitting down with family and friends, some of you, and others are dreading it.
Joining us to talk about how to get through the holiday with the minimum of family stress, less stress. Relationship communication expert. What a title. Stephanie Michele. Hi there. Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
You too. You too.
What is the key to keeping it happy?
Well, first it starts with just setting the intention for a meaningful gathering. So we need to reach out to each other and say, hey, let's do a little bit better than what we did last time. Let's not head into that fight. And for sure, we need to address how we're going to handle some of the political divides in our family. So
do you set ground rules from the beginning? If you're hosting and you say, hey, anybody who's coming here, these are the ground rules.
Yeah, preventative communication is always easier than trying to do it in the moment when people are heated and really trying to get their point across. So you either set the ground rules for, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it at a certain portion of the dinner, maybe after, or we're just not going to do it. We're just not going to have these topics. I think we need to talk it out. I think that too much of it is happening online, and as communicators, we continue to deliver the message until we know it's been heard. And we're not really getting through to each other online, so we carry that frustration offline, and then it gets more intense and more intense. So either, if we're going to do it, if we're going to have the tough conversations, build in safe communication. So safe communication could be just sharing stories about the dishes that you're having, the memories, complimenting, wearing something that has a special memory so you can talk about that. Gaming gratefulness. I love the idea of us all sitting down and setting a timer and going, 1, for my health, 2, for Aunt Barb's dessert, and just going around and seeing how many you can get in 60 seconds, and then maybe doing it again at the end of the evening, and keeping your record so you can beat your record next year.
When you talk about setting these ground rules prior, is that literally before people walk in your door? I mean, so we should be picking up the phone today and say, hey, you know what? Let's not talk about politics, which we know, but we still do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a tweet, it's not a text, it's not an email. It's actually calling people and saying, hey, I really want this to be meaningful. I want to feel connected to Aunt Barb this year. I want to hear new stories about Grandma. How do we do this?
I have an Aunt Barb, so it's making me laugh.
But so you're saying it might be good to talk about some things that might be divisive instead of getting in your corners. All right, so on the topic of something like politics, would you say just never talk about, do you say, okay, after we get out, after the dinner table, if we're sitting around having cocktails somewhere, is it okay to start talking about those things?
Yeah, again, a little structure helps. So setting some guidelines, at the end of this, we're going to go there, but at the end of this, we're still going to respect and love each other. So you could put topics that are hot to everybody in a hat and draw them and then pull it out. Okay, this is the one we're going to talk about. Go around in circle. I love sitting in a circle because then now everybody knows when their turn's coming up and they're less likely to step on somebody else's comments. Let everybody talk. If it gets heated, there's 2 things that you can do to kind of minimize that. One is mirroring what someone says before you quickly respond with your heated, well, this is how I feel. So you simply repeat back what the other person said.
I understand what you're saying, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So if they're acting like Trump, you act like Trump.
Not that. You just repeat back.
You're not invited.
Off the list. Off the list. But you just repeat back what they said and say, did I get that all right? Is there more to that story?
Now, what's your take on alcohol at the holidays? Because that's when things really get heated.
They do, and I think that it's, you probably don't want to take it off the table. That's going to cause more conflict. So alcohol's there. We might need it to get through. Maybe just change the sequence of how it's served. Serve a signature cocktail at the beginning of the dinner that slows down. Someone has to prepare it, so it slows down how we're serving it, maybe smaller portions.
I like the way you're talking.
We're in LA, so we can have fancy waters, to kind of minimize how much alcohol intake is happening. So make a, lemon water or a ginger water and have that on the table when the wine is there to just help minimize how much emphasis is on drinking.
Have some lemon water.
Yes.
I don't recommend
Bob needs
trying to
glass
replace
of lemon water, please. Yes.
Whatever happened to just board games,
Bob, I love board games. I'm a big advocate.
Which turn into fights.